What a joy to be with you here on this Thursday. And today I would like to look at the great faith chapter. This chapter gives us wonderful examples from the Old Testament of men and women that really walked with God. And it's really summed up in verse 6, where it says, "But without faith it is impossible to please God. For he that cometh to God must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him." And here in this chapter, we see how God is moved by people that will believe him. Then we go on to the next person mentioned, and that's Noah. I think sometimes Christians fall into the thinking that it can't get any worse than it is right now. And it is true as we look at everything around us that it's very possible that Satan is laying the groundwork for really a major takeover of this world. And of course, the Lord's allowing this to happen so that prophecy can be fulfilled. We don't know how all of that is going to work, and we have to be careful about putting a time on that. And we have a tendency to always have that kind of a negative perspective. Let me just say, there really are no good old days. You go back even 70, 80 years, we were already well on the pathway to where we find ourselves now. But Noah, that was a bad time. Can you imagine being the only family saved on the entire earth? And to top off all of that, you have the violence and sexual perversion that was rampant. It was what was characteristic of that day. No sense of law, no sense of restraint. And in the midst of all of that, we read, by faith, Noah. And God gave him his word, gave him instructions on what he was to do, and he did it exactly like God said, in the midst of as dark a time as there ever was. And so I just want to encourage you that it is possible to walk by faith no matter what circumstances you find yourself in. Abraham had very challenging circumstances. Moses definitely had challenging circumstances. We think of Joseph, the one who was over and over unjustly treated and sent down to Egypt, and all of his story. Each one of these we marvel at their faith to believe in God despite the circumstances. And I just want to encourage you, if you're tempted to begin to feel sorry for yourself, realize what God is pleased with is for you to believe him, to believe his word, and do exactly, just like Noah, what God said to do. God wants you to deliver your house. God wants you to deliver other people. God wants you to be one who is calling people around the world to reconciliation with him, whatever opportunities that you have. And so as believers, we've got to be very careful to not lose our faith at a time like this, but this is a time for us to please God by exercising our faith. And let's just remember that it's not as bad as these men and women had it, and God is with us, he indwells us, and right now, today, we can have faith and we can have victory if we choose to look to God.